Hi there, this is Lizzie from Lizzie's Dressing Table, and today I am celebrating a milestone on my channel. I broke the 100 subscriber ceiling, so I am thrilled that I have more than 100 subscribers, so thank you to those who have subscribed. And so to celebrate this milestone, I am going to be sharing with you 10 of my perfumes in my collection that are 100 years or older. So this is going to be a bit of a history lesson when it comes to perfume, but I hope it'll be a fun lesson. So if you're interested in perfume history and interested in what I have, stay tuned. So for the first perfume, and actually this is a eau de toilette, we are going to go back to the 18th century. We are going to learn about the perfume house Floris, F-L-O-R-I-S, and that is a company that was established in London in 1730. It was founded by one Firminius Floris, who was born in 1698 in Minorca, Spain. He came to London, and along with his English wife, Elizabeth, he established the Floris Company, which sold perfumes, combs, and shaving items to the elegant St. James Quarter of London. He established his store at 89 Jermyn Street, that's spelled J-E-R-M-Y-N. And so the perfume or eau de toilette that I have from Floris, and this is a decant, this is their Lily of the Valley, which is very spring appropriate. And I purchased this as a decant. I'm going to spray it. This particular scent was created in 1847, and it's really, really beautiful. It's short-lived because what Floris is known for is ingredients, natural ingredients. So this scent has touches of green leaves, jasmine, rose, and musk, in addition to lily of the valley. The Floris Company continues to be family owned after all of these centuries of being in business. The first perfume or scent that Floris released was Neroli Voyage. It was created in the 1700s, and in 1820, one Firminius Floris received the first royal warrant from the King of England, George IV. So a very interesting story, an interesting house that I have known about for a long time. It seemed like they advertised in Victoria magazine, which I was a big reader of back in my younger years. How many of you remember Victoria magazine? But yeah, a really, really beautiful scent from a very historic scent house. So that's Lily of the Valley from Floris. Okay, and so the next perfume house will probably be familiar with you, my viewers. This is Yardley London, and I have their signature scent, really what they're known for, Yardley's Lavender. Yardley London was established in 1770 by the Cleaver family, and this company is renowned for its lavender. At the time that it was established, it provided soap for London during the reign of King Charles I. The company was taken over by William Yardley in 1823. And so the scent product of lavender, which I have right here, this is a modern version of it. The scent product lavender was established in 1873, and Yardley as a company began importing goods to the United States in the late 19th century, and it earned its royal warrants in the 1920s. as perfumers to the Prince of Wales. But to go back a little bit, in the 1880s, it was rebranded to Yardley and Company under Thomas Exton Gardner. So then in 1932, Yardley began sourcing other species of lavender, from which they developed its own cultivar of the herb, Lavandula angustifolia, which is still used in the products today. So in 2000, Yardley of London, or just Yardley London, was acquired by Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting Group, and this company remains committed to producing vegan-friendly and cruelty-free products, as well as pursuing sustainable sourcing of its natural products. And this is not a commercial for Yardley, but I love this scent. This was re-released in 2015 along with their Lily of the Valley scent. So this came out in the latter part of the 19th century. This came out in 1920. So really beautiful product, very light. The lavender is a bit more on the masculine side, but lavender is definitely a very unisex scent. And so with these products, I had to go over to Canada to purchase them because I wasn't really able to find them anywhere in a bricks and mortar store in the United States. So these are two lovely colognes. So Yardley London. And so now moving on, this was also a company that was established in the early 19th century. And I think anyone who is a frag head like me will know this company. It is Guerlain. So Guerlain was established in 1828 by Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain, and I actually did a video about my Guerlain collection, so you might want to check that out. I go through the whole history of the perfumes that Guerlain created. I certainly don't have everything, boy, don't I wish, but I do have one of the very first perfumes that Guerlain released, and this is Jicky. This was created by Rene, who was the son of Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain. And so this scent is the only perfume in the world that has been continuously produced. And I want you to picture 1889, the Eiffel Tower just opens, and this is something that was produced for women at the time. It's the first modern scent to incorporate synthetic ingredients like vanilla and coumarin. And this is very much a barbershop scent. It's got vanilla, it's got lavender, and I absolutely love it. And it's still around. And of course, it probably does not smell like it did in 1889, but it was created for women, and then men began to wear it. So yeah, a lovely scent, and it kicked off what is now one of the most prestigious fragrance houses. Some consider it to be the biggest niche perfumery. So I don't know, what do you think? Do you like Guerlain scents? And so that was 1889. So now we are going to go to 1925. We're going to amp this up with a ton of vanilla, and Jicky will magically become Shalimar. This is created, or was created in and released in 1925. It was created by Jacques Guerlain, who was the nephew of Aimé Guerlain, who created Jicky, as well as Aimé's brother Gabriel, who took over management of Guerlain. So Jicky is the progenitor of Shalimar. So we would not have Shalimar without Jicky. And smelling Shalimar, you can smell Jicky and vice versa. So many people still love Shalimar, and there are so many flankers. I think there probably has to be 40 or more. I know that Jicky or Shalimar celebrated its 100-year anniversary. And so many of us who love Shalimar purchased a Shalimar Lizance Intense. So we've got the grandmother, the mother, and then the daughter, the Shalimar Lizance Intense, which is just absolutely packed with vanilla. It's so absolutely delicious, and it's such an interesting jump from Jicky and moving 100 years later. We have Shalimar Lizance Intense with its power packed full of vanilla. So yeah, Guerlain is really interesting. They have had so many beautiful perfumes over the years. Okay, and so now we're going to move back a little bit in time. We're kind of skipping around because I wanted to talk about specific companies and products that I have. So now we are going to move to a company that creates 4711. How many of you are familiar with 4711? This was originally created in 1792, and on the box it says Echt Kölnisch Wasser, which means authentic Cologne water. So this product and its design, and I will unbox it for you. So you can still get this online. There are different scents to this cologne, but this is the original 1820 design on it. So this originated as a medical, quote-unquote, miracle water before it became a unisex scent. It was allegedly based on a recipe that was given to Wilhelm Muelhens, who was a young merchant at the time. The recipe was given to him by a Carthusian monk. And another fact that is interesting to me is that Muelhens' family factory in Glockengasse, Germany, was assigned the number 4711 during the French occupation of Cologne in 1734. So that was dating back to the French Revolution, and so the recipe for this was very guarded by the family. Muelhens, rather than release the ingredients of this so-called miracle water, he decided that he was going to rebrand this elixir as a perfume rather than disclose the ingredients of this. That was something that was decreed by Napoleon, that all medicines that were used at the time needed to reveal their ingredients. And so Muelhens, rather than release that recipe, he just rebranded this as a fragrance that is used on the skin. So it's an absolutely refreshing scent, and just bought it online. And you can get small bottles, big bottles, you know, whatever size you might want. And people have been just using this through the centuries. It features lemon, orange, and bergamot at the top, lavender and rosemary at the heart, and neroli at the base. And to me, that neroli really comes out. It's just, it's very, very refreshing. It's something that you can splash on. It is not going to last more than an hour, if that. It's very, very light. And it's just a beautiful product. I know that they have a rose-scented fragrance. And there are, you know, lots of other scents with 4711. How many of you know Muelhens 4711, the original Eau de Cologne? So that is another product in my fragrance library that dates back to the 18th century. So I think that's really cool. Okay, and then now we are going to move back to England from Germany. So the next company that I wanted to talk about is Penhaligon. So Penhaligon was founded in 1870 by William Henry Penhaligon, who was a Cornish barber who rose the ranks to become the barber and perfumer to the British royal court. Between 1870 and 1874, Penhaligon moved to London and started working as a barber at the Hammam Turkish baths on the very elegant and fashionable German Street. So if you recall German Street from Floris, he began working as a barber in those Turkish baths in 1872. And so in 1872, Penhaligon released Hammam Bouquet. So this is something that the English dandies would wear. It was his first scent, and he would go on to create Blenheim Bouquet in 1902. But Hammam Bouquet is something that I read about when I first started learning about perfumes. This is a scent that is created for men. It's considered a powdery, ambery, and woodsy scent meant to evoke a Turkish bath. It has top notes, and I'm going to be real careful with this because it's one of these vials here. I remember wiping this on my wrist. And it wasn't something that I was terribly in a rage to continue wearing. The top notes are lavender and bergamot. The middle notes are Bulgarian rose, orris root, jasmine, and cedar. And the base is sandalwood, amber, and musk. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dab it on a cotton ball. Dumped that all over. Now, the vial that I have, this smells very old-fashioned. And you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll wipe it on my skin just so that I can give you a sense of what it smells like. It's, you know, what I have smells sort of old. I had been eyeing a bottle of Hammam Bouquet on eBay for quite a while, and it was over $150, and I hedged and I hedged and I hedged, and I thought, do I really want to purchase it? And I don't. When I checked the Penhaligon website, I did not see Hammam Bouquet, so not sure if you can still get it. I really didn't have to dig too much for this, but I was more comfortable in just purchasing a vial of it. But yeah, an old scent from 1872, meant for a London dandy. So yeah, that's my next scent that I really am glad that I have it. I'm not wild about the scent, but it's a piece of history, and I love history, and I love perfume history. So Hammam Bouquet by Penhaligon. All right, and so now we're going to go back to France, and the next company that I wanted to talk about is Houbigant. So Houbigant was founded in Paris in 1772 by Jean-Francois Houbigant. He had a shop on the Rue de Faubourg Saint-Honoré, and the shop was named à la corbeille de fleurs, which means in English, at the basket of flowers. And so at the time that he opened his shop. He sold scented gloves, powders, and toilette water. And he was someone who created the very first Fougere scent. It was called Fougere Royale, and that is definitely on my list of perfumes or scents to smell. I think I would really like to get a bottle of Fougere Royale. I don't have one, but that was created in 1882. It was created not by Jean-Francois Houbigant. It was created by Paul Parquet, and that was a scent that would essentially establish the fougere for men's scents. Fougere in French means fern, fern-like scents, and it was really, that scent was the first to use a synthetic coumarin, and it really set the base for men's fragrances. Something that I do have, and I will tell you, unfortunately, it is not a great bottle, but this is Quelques Fleurs. This was created in 1912 by Robert Rene, and I hope I'm not butchering the name, but this is considered the world's first multi-flower bouquet scent. And prior to that, according to the research I did, all perfumes were really kind of considered soliflor, meaning a single flower. And this is something that was worn by Princess Diana on her wedding day back in 1981. Yeah, this smells a bit old. I'm going to dab it on. I actually dug this out at a vintage and treasure hunt sale. And it does not smell great, but I will tell you the modern Quelques Fleurs, I actually found a empty bottle of it in an antique store recently. I didn't purchase it because I really don't purchase perfume bottles if they are empty, but I can tell you the current Quelques Fleurs, which actually is French for some flowers, it was gorgeous, and I really thought, you know, I should run out and buy a bottle. I mean, it costs a little more than $100, and you can purchase it, I think, in department stores, but you can certainly get it online. But one of Houbigant's creations. Another is Chantilly, which was very, very popular in the 40s and in the 1980s. I do have a bottle of it here. So here are my bottles of Houbigant's Chantilly, and actually this is created by Dana, created and distributed, and this is an older version of Chantilly. So Houbigant, part of my collection. And I am dedicated to obtaining a bottle of Quelques Fleurs because it is gorgeous. So the next company that I wanted to talk about is Millot, and that's spelled Millot, and this is something that I also dug up from an antique store. I paid $5 for this. This is called Crepe de Chine, and this was something that came out in the 1920s. And again, the bottle, the contents don't smell terribly great, but it was a miniature, and I think I picked up like maybe 5 to 7 different minis. It was, you know, $5, so I thought, what the heck, you know, the bottle design is kind of interesting. But the person who created this is Jean Dupré. And so the top notes of this include aldehydes, bergamot, neroli, lemon, and orange. Middle has iris, carnation, Bulgarian rose, jasmine, orange blossom, lilac, ylang-ylang, and elemi. And the base has oak moss, galbanum, sandalwood, leather, heather, benzoin, musk, vetiver, patchouli, cedar, and amber. So as you can see, by the 1920s, they were just packing perfumes with a ton of ingredients, almost like the 1980s. But what's interesting about F. Millot is that it is still around. I was checking out their website as I was doing my research for this video. And it's a company now that says it specializes in something called aromacology, which is basically the science of inhaling aromas and really studying the effects of fragrances on the mind and the emotions. A very interesting company. I didn't really check out many of their products, but they're still around. I haven't done any kind of research on how obtainable this perfume is. I think you can find it online. You can find anything online. But it's the company is still around. And today, F. Millot, the tagline is a company that offers cosmetics to meet a person's daily emotional needs. But yeah, this was an early product, 1921. Crepe de Chine. And so now we are finally going to get into a company that is synonymous for chic. If you know, you know. If you wear it, you're instantly part of a exclusive club of the most fashionable ladies. It was true back then. It's true now. So we are talking about, my friends, Chanel No. 5. So everybody knows in the fragrance community, this was the first perfume or product to use aldehydes. That's what gives it its powdery nature, that gives its clean facets, that just makes it popular. So people know that this was created in 1921 by Ernest Beau. This is a perfumer who worked with Gabrielle Coco Chanel to come up with this. This was the 5th variety that he presented to her. But you know what? Since everyone talks about Chanel No. 5, what I would like to do, and of course, you know, grand dame there, but how many of you know Chanel No. 22? So this is a scent that came out a year after Chanel No. 5. It was also created by Ernest Beau. And this was actually created to be a lighter alternative to Chanel No. 5. But I will tell you, smelling this, and I did order this, I believe, from the Chanel website. And this is something that you can only order from Chanel. Either you can get it from Chanel or it's sold by Harrods in London. I'm going to spray this. This is a powder bomb. It is packed with the very heaviest dose of aldehydes. So much that, to me, and this is only my opinion, you could choke on the powder on this. It's considered a floral aldehyde, and it is now part of the company's Les Exclusifs de Chanel collection. It's got on the top aldehydes, neroli, lily of the valley, or lily, tuberose, and orange blossom. At the heart is ylang ylang, jasmine, white rose, and nutmeg, and the base is iris, vanilla, and vetiver. And if you want a bottle of Chanel No. 22, for a 7 milliliter bottle, it will set you back $355. If you want 200 mils, you will pay about $600. This is not something that I reach for a lot because, and maybe I'm committing a sacrilegious act, But honestly, I am not wild about Chanel number 5. I don't particularly like very powdery scents, but I do honor the history of the company and just the fact that it has been around for more than 100 years. And it was revolutionary. So by right, it has its place in history. Yeah. That's Chanel number 22, and if you want to confuse a Chanel salesperson in the United States, ask them about Chanel 22. They won't know what the heck you're talking about. So, and did you know that there's a Chanel number 46? I've never smelled it, but I heard about it from Sebastian Jara of the Perfume Guy channel. He's my history go-to guy. So we're going to move on to Coty, and Francois Coty was really considered the grandfather of modern perfumery. What I have to share with you today is Coty's Emeraude, and again, this is a small bottle, and actually if you look for the bigger bottle of Emeraude, it's pretty pricey. You can find it on eBay, but it's a wonderful, wonderful scent. And you know, I didn't remember that my grandmother wore Emeraude. Oh, it's beautiful. It has a lovely citrus top, and it dries down very warm, very powdery. It's got amber in it, vanilla, sandalwood, and benzoin. And at the time, according to my research, way back when, it was really considered greener, drier, and more refined than Shalimar. This something that was created by Francois Coty, who was born in 1874. Not only was he a businessman and a perfumer, he also served in the French Senate. He's got a very interesting backstory. He, as I mentioned, he was really considered actually the father of modern perfumery. He was born Francois Spotorno. He had a Corsican blood. He was orphaned at the age of 13, and he was raised by his grandmother. But he would go on to study chemistry, and he trained in Grasse, which is really the epicenter of the European or French perfumery industry, Grasse, France, and he trained in that city on using natural raw materials and synthetic molecules. So another interesting fact is that Coty was his mother's maiden name, and he established his perfume house in Paris in 1904. And so in 1904, he launched the perfume La Rose Jacqueminot, and so unbeknownst to me, I actually had a poster of La Rose Jacqueminot, so I, of course, had to display it. That's something I purchased on Etsy. He shopped the scent around. He went to the department stores in France, and no one really wanted to take a chance on him because he was an unknown perfumer, and so the legend goes, in his frustration, he smashed a bottle of this perfume in a department store, and the scent just infiltrated the store, and by the end of 1904, La Rose Jacqueminot was a big hit. So he made it his way. And then he would go on to create the perfume L'Oregon in 1905, and also Ambre Antique in 1917, and he also established or launched Chypre in 1917, which I do believe is the first Chypre scent. He also worked with Rene Lalique as early as 1910 to create perfume bottles. And he and Rene Lalique created the first really decorative perfume bottle under his company name for the scent Cyclamen. I have never seen this perfume. I can look for a picture for it. Francois Coty was one of the definite players, one of the actors who created French perfume. So, and I love Emeraude, you know. History aside, this is a beautiful, beautiful perfume. I got this as part of 4 Coty scents. And this was really my favorite. It's beautiful, and it reminded me of my grandmother, and it reminded me that she had this on her dressing table, which I had totally forgotten. So, I recommend it. So, all right. And so those are the historical perfumes in my collection. So I hope that you enjoyed this lecture, this history lesson, this lecture in perfumery. I wanted to talk about the history, the perfumes in my collection that are 100 years or older, to celebrate the fact that I now have more than 100 subscribers. And to those of you who have subscribed, I truly appreciate it. This has been such a fun learning experience for me. I am a writer who is expanding her skills into video, and I know that some of my videos have been rather interesting looking, but I've definitely learned about lighting, about editing, and I love doing the video editing. The production work is my favorite, but I also love your comments. I appreciate the fact that you have given me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. I would love to reach 200 subscribers. I'm devoted to vintage scents as well as modern scents, and I just want to be part of this perfume community. It's a passion of mine. And so thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on my next video, and have a wonderful weekend or week whenever you're watching this. So talk to you later. Bonjour.